Hi, I'm Mark from Success4. I'm here with Andy Fisher from the Hero Forge.
Hello.
Andy, tell me, who is Andy? Where did it start?
I guess it started when I was born. So the Hero Forge is really a confluence of different things that I've been involved with for most of my life. So martial arts, wilderness survival instruction. I'm a teacher by profession, so I spend a lot of time looking at things like mental resilience, as well as physical training and health and well-being. And the Hero Forge is basically the coming together of all of those strands, and then it emerged about 18 months ago as a project. And what I'm trying to do is encourage as many people as possible to embrace this idea of everyday heroism.
Okay, cool. So you bring together everything you've learned in your upbringing, your teaching, years of teaching, all that sort of thing, into this thing that's been called the Hero Forge. Tell us more about that then.
Sure. So I guess the origins really are about 18 months ago. My father passed away after a fairly short period of time of being diagnosed with cancer, and he was a career soldier, and so I'd grown up with him, having adventures, climbing the hills, learning all about bushcraft and survival and things like that. He had me when he was just 26 years old, and I was quite a late starter, so I had my son Kit when I was 44. So when we laid Dad to rest, and when I reflected on what I'd learned from him, I sort of suddenly realised that I had this privilege of having grown up and learned about what it is to live a good life and a virtuous life and to be of service to other people at the foot of my father. And I hope that I'll be able to do that for my son, but I'm in middle age already. So it's kind of the Hero Forge originally was for an audience of one, and it was an insurance policy really to make sure that what I'd learned from Dad got passed on to my son.
Stuff. Yeah.
And then it just so happened that at the same time I was invited to speak at something called the Hero Roundtable at the Barbican in London, which was in May, which is headed up by a guy called Matt Langdon, and he's doing amazing work and basically bringing people together in this idea of everyday heroism. I didn't know what that was at the time, but I kind of came to realise that that's what I was trying to articulate in my book, which I wrote off the back of being asked to be a speaker at the Hero Roundtable. And essentially, everyday heroism is developing the tools, attributes, skills needed to be able to overcome the bystander effect, which we can talk about in a moment perhaps, and then step in and make a positive change in the world, however that might be. That might be physical, might be rescuing someone from a burning building, but it might be advocating or being involved in the environmental movement or whatever, finding a need in the world that isn't being addressed and stepping in and serving that need.
Where's this leading on to? What's the future hold for Andy and the Hero Forge?
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm not quite sure. As I say, so originally it's a bit of like a runaway train, but with a fun ride. Because I wrote the book. I didn't originally intend to write this book. I was asked to give a speech. I sat down for an hour each morning, started writing my thoughts in preparation to figure out what I wanted to say in this speech. At the round table, and suddenly I had 105,000 words. Got carried away as teachers tend to. So that became the book, and it's great. People have been reading it and giving me positive feedback. But it felt as if that was the beginning of a conversation rather than the end, and so I launched the podcast. I've got 40 episodes in the bag now. I think only 28 of them have been released yet, and I'm releasing them weekly. And Success4 is very kindly platforming those earlier episodes as well, which is great because it means there's a whole new audience that I can reach to with this stuff. So where I'm at the moment is I'm talking to amazing people doing awesome things. I'm encouraging people to embrace their own potential. I run self-defense, self-protection and combatives workshops. I take people out into the wilderness and give them an experience of getting outside of their comfort zone and challenging themselves. Tonight, actually, I'm taking a group of people out from dusk, and they're going to be training with me until dawn.
So the everyday hero?
Yeah.
Let's go back to that.
Yes, so there's this idea, something called the bystander effect. And the idea is that when we are presented with a call to help, however it might come, there's a tendency amongst human beings to look around to see what other people are going to do before we take action. And it's built into our DNA as a survival mechanism. The problem with that is that we've increasingly learned to outsource our authority and our responses. We have a professional police force, we have laws that protect us, we have the military and emergency services. So increasingly we don't do anything. And also we don't feel capable of doing anything because we haven't necessarily got the physical abilities or the training or the experience to step in. So often people do nothing. Now that's not always the case, and what we call heroes in newspapers and things are people who have overcome that bystander effect and done something anyway. So the guy that jumps onto the train tracks where someone's fallen and lifts them up to safety. Yeah. Now there might have been 50, 60 people on the platform, but what was it about that individual?
He was the one that actually made the decision.
Yeah. So there's a lot of research been done in recent years about that. What is it that makes the person step forward? There's lots of theories, and it's a complex issue, and we still don't really know. But we do know that there are certain traits, so compassion for others, situational awareness, self-governance, the ability to decide what you value in life. And if we promote those qualities and develop training, simple things like CPR and first aid. If you're CPR trained, you're more likely to step in and deal with someone who's collapsed. Yeah. So the Hero Forge model is based upon some of the excellent work that people like Phil Zimbardo and Matt Langdon and others have done. And I'm just sort of picking the torch up and adding my spin on things, my flavour and my approach.
Okay, so Andy, if somebody wants to get hold of you, learn more about what you're doing, how can they connect with you?
Okay, so there's a website, which is theheroforge.com. Very important you get the THE in there, because otherwise it'll take you to a fantasy miniature figures company.
Okay, brilliant.
So The Hero Forge, if you go there, you'll find the blog, podcast, which you can also access and subscribe on Stitcher or iTunes. And then all the social media links you'll find on the website. So I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, but you can all centralise it through the website.
Brilliant stuff. So there you have it, guys. That's Andy Fisher from Hero Forge. If you need to connect with him, if you want to find out more about what he's doing, go to The Hero Forge. And again, we'll put a link on the screen. But yeah, thanks a lot for your time, Andy.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks
very much.
Cheers.